Multiverse! Hello and welcome to HoeyCast. I am Jake Lloyd Bacon. I am a New Yorker who likes pop culture, movies, comic books, and my co-hosts.
Oh.
For a rare occasion, I actually like my co-host today because we are not joined by our fearless leader, Coy. We are here. It is the return of HoeyCast.
Hello.
Alexandra Hoey, my much better half. Hi, babe.
Hi.
It's the first time you've ever done one of these live.
It is.
And by the way, these are live exclusively through the Patreon. You do not need to be a paid patron to get access to it. You just need to go and be a member. You can sign up for free, and you get access to the patron exclusive live stream where you can chat with us in the chat. Like Doug McKinney's in the chat right now. I'm only here because I was woken from a nap by someone at Pittsburgh Penguins tickets office calling me at about 4:50 p.m. and then hanging up. Okay. I mean, I would prefer that you were here because you wanted to be, Doug, but I guess, to each their own.
Don't judge people for their reasons.
So yes, Coy, we've been dark on HoeyCast for like the entirety of June. And
he's a busy young man.
It's all Coy's fault. He does not love you like I love you, children. So I just want you to know I'm getting you all in the divorce.
Wow.
No, I kid. With the summer blockbuster season.
Yeah.
And Coy's, recent affiliation with DC through his DC show. He's just very busy and very booked.
He a busy boy. He booked up.
I will say, in fairness, there was one day that he was like, "Hey, I'm free on Friday to do a thing," and we were not. And I was like, "Oh, we can't do it." So I'll take 1% blame. But listen, we just wanted to, Alexandra and I at least wanted to pop on and just say hi and let people know that, people are living. There are lives occurring.
So I would never try and replace your real dad, but I am here today.
I think I'm if we're going to be like gender normative about it and there's like a dad and a mom, then
I just think generally there's two dads.
Coy's the mom for sure. But if we are dad and dad, okay, I get what you're saying.
You guys are dad and dad.
I was the one being gender normative.
Yeah, God.
I apologize. Oh, geez Louise, I'm going to get canceled now. It's summer's been trucking along. You and I still have not gone to a new movie in the movie theater.
We have not gone to a new movie. We've seen 3
old movies.
No, wait. No, we seen one new movie.
What did we go see that was new?
Sunlight.
Oh, right. Yes. We'll talk. All right. We're going to talk today all about one of my new favorite movies and a movie that we want everybody to go see. We'll get there.
Yeah. But we did go to a 20th and the 25th anniversary showing of 2 different movies.
Yeah.
Respectively.
Yeah. We like to go to the movie theater when we know there's not going to be a lot of people there and they're all going to be old. We saw
Pride and Prejudice
and Dogma in the theater. Because that's the sort of movies we go to. Ones we've seen a million times.
Second time in theater for both for me.
Yeah.
First time in theater for both for you.
Yes. Yeah.
It was awesome.
We also we almost so close to catching up on Marvel. We did watch the Captain America.
We have
4,
not seen Thunderbolt.
And we wanted to. And we planned on it, and we were like, "Oh, if we watch this now, we can go see Thunderbolt, just in case it's connective tissue."
And we're just terrible.
And then we didn't do it.
Yeah, and so now we've missed the theatrical run, so
Yeah.
we'll have to watch that on streaming.
Right.
But we will 100% not miss Fantastic Four because
why?
I'm actually pretty hyped for it. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty hyped.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm worried about all the reshooting and all of the stuff that is holding it back, and they're doing last minute stuff. That's never a good sign.
That is not good. You are correct.
But there's also arguments being made about how it's because they're course correcting the bad decisions they made first. I don't know. Are you excited for Superman's? Because we're only here, 2 weeks away from Superman.
I'm very excited for Superman.
Yeah. Do you have any expectations or interests? Special interests?
Only that I'm in love with the actress who is playing Lois Lane, so
Sure.
I assume that I will continue to love her.
Sure.
And I love James Gunn, and so I'm happy with anything that's in his hands. And I know there's a lot of nerds who are diehard Snyder fans. Offense, no offense.
Offense, no offense.
It's a little of both. A little of don't take offense, but also a little offense in the sense that I've just seen a lot of people kind of hating on, it seems for the sake of it, based on trailers of a movie that hasn't even hit theaters yet, of like certain things that they're perceiving in this movie so far that none of us have seen. So I don't know. I'm like, let's just fucking chill. And
what is your super? This is a fun question for you. What's your Superman movie ranking of the Superman movies you've seen from best to worst?
I mean, oh my God, why am I blanking on his name? Reeves, of course, is number one.
Okay, so the original and one, because you never saw any of the sequels.
No,
you've only seen the first one.
And that's it for me.
No, I mean, what about Superman Returns with Brendan Routh? Does that place above Man of Steel or Batman vs Superman?
Everything places above those.
Okay, and
Batman v Superman is the worst, absolute bottom of the barrel for me.
So you like Superman Returns more than Man of Steel?
Yes,
same. I know that's people are like, oh, that's just because you fucking hate Snyder. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's because I think I love
Watchmen.
But I think as a cohesive movie, I think that Superman Returns, with the exception of like the Super Kid, which I'm just like, one of my favorite things about Superman is he can't have a thing that normal humans have. But with the exception of that, it's fine. It's fine. And Brandon Routh is great, and it's got some great scenes. That when he saves the people, like that's like the plane, like that's great. Like,
okay, but what about the CW? Okay,
we haven't watched
Smallville.
Well, yeah, but we also haven't watched Lois and Clark. Is that what's
Lois
called?
and Clark.
Yeah, isn't that what it's called?
I don't know.
Why are you laughing at that being the name? That's the newer one that came out that people were really enjoyed. It was more
a show.
Yeah, it was a more like serious, kind of fun, but
I'm over
dramatic.
here,
not
never
Smallville.
Hearing of it.
Oh, you're making fun of me because I said Lois and Clark. That's their names. Anyways,
I was laughing at what was probably the intention of like I don't know. In my brain, I heard Lewis and Clark, and I was like, oh, that's so funny.
This is why I want Coy back.
I'll make you miss him so hard.
But
you're welcome, Coy.
So you've only seen 4 movies of Superman in it, and those are the 4 you've ranked.
I guess
Superman the movie, Superman Returns, Man of Steel, and Batman. That's actually probably my ranking of those 4 as well. I actually might argue that I might put Superman 2, the Donner cut,
haven't seen it,
above some of the other ones. Superman and Lois. Thanks, Doug, in the chat. Superman and Lois, not Lois and Clark.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to say that is a really funny little name.
Names.
It is, but also kind of funny. Great. Superman and Lois makes more sense.
You're kind of funny. So here's my question. When are we... Oh, wait a minute. Lois and Clark was the name of the Dean Cain Superman show.
Oh.
That's right. We try to forget that Dean Cain exists now. He's dead to us.
Oh, okay.
There's a really famous photo that happened maybe last year. Maybe someone in the chat can correct me. It was like a year ago or 2 years ago at some convention where like all of the Supermans posed in the photo, and the internet cut off Dean from the right side of the image, and we're just posting it like, here are all the Supermans.
Lols. Love that.
Ah, good stuff.
I just as a side note, too,
yes.
Henry Cavill is a gorgeous man, so
they
all get a star for at least that.
The problems with the movies were not because of the guy who played the character.
Exactly.
In any instance.
Exactly.
Really, yeah.
No. Writing flaws.
Well, here's my question. What's the over-under? We should start an actual, we should start gambling on the podcast.
Oh my God.
What's the over-under that we actually see Superman within the first, 2 weeks of it being in the theaters, considering how bad you and I are about getting out and getting to the
Listen,
theater?
I'm committed for a blockbuster summer because I want to see, actually do want to see this new Jurassic World movie.
Okay, we haven't seen the last one.
I kind of don't care about that one.
Oh, all right.
Can anyone weigh in on whether I need to see the one that precedes this? Probably. Can I just read about it? Is it worth watching? These are my questions. But oh my God, why can't I think of this man's name? Listen, I need more caffeine. This is what happens when
I don't know.
coffee.
Chris Pratt.
No, God. But in the one that's coming out with Scarlett Johansson, opposite of her is this beautiful man from Bridgerton and all these other great things.
Oh, yeah,
and I can't think of his
name. I know
name.
you're talking about, but I don't
Wicked.
know his name.
Oh, anyway.
Yeah.
Love
He's
him.
the guy that was like the fun, smarmy guy in Wicked that I loved so much. And I was like, I'm in love. Yeah, he's the best.
I'm zipping my mouth because I know more about that story than
you.
I
know, shut up. I don't know.
I can't say anything more.
I don't know.
And
Part
no one's saying
anything. So because of that, you're obsessed with seeing Jurassic Park.
So I want to see that. I want to see, and so I feel like that's gonna between that and Superman, it'll just get the ball rolling. We'll see other stuff.
Fantastic Four is also in there.
Fantastic Four, isn't that in July?
Yeah, they're like a week and a half apart.
We're gonna have to just
I don't know.
Get an A-list.
That's Coy's job. I don't do dates.
No, so I feel like this summer will be good for us for movies. I'm committed.
You're committed? Right on.
Let's do it.
I appreciate it. But speaking about stuff we did see, that's all the current crap coming out. No one cares. So Alexandra and I talked about this on the show, and oh wait, Doug in the chat. There's no way anyone needs to see Jurassic World to see the new one. Then again, I probably haven't seen any of the Jurassics. Probably haven't. That's a scary way to put that. There's a possibility he has just completely put it out of his mind.
Do you drink?
I probably
because I can understand.
So I talked a little bit about this on the show. I was going to say weeks ago because that's usually how the podcast works. It's probably months ago at this point. There was a movie. I was telling Coy about how I feel like I'm losing grip of being plugged into the indie movie world because I've gotten better about staying off of social media. And unfortunately, when you stay off of social media, the benefit is you don't have to deal with the worst parts of social media. But then you also lose that like once every couple months when something comes along that you go, shit, I wish I knew about that.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, thankfully, I saw this trailer for this movie featuring this British writer and comedian who I love, Nina Conti, who is a comedian and ventriloquist. She was in the Christopher Guest HBO TV show called Family Tree, starring Chris O'Dowd.
Great show.
She's known in the ventriloquism world. Her original character was this little monkey, this little like stuffed animal monkey that she was able to kind of manipulate the mouth, even though it wasn't supposed to be. She calls him Monk often, but and that's this. It's this character, and she's incredible at it. It's really funny. And in Family Tree, they pretty much just had her be a ventriloquist, but it was meant to be a play on like mental health, where she was Chris O'Dowd's
coping mechanism.
Yeah, she was Chris O'Dowd's younger sister who only spoke through the monkey. And it was a social situation. Where,
little real life bleeding into fiction.
Maybe. But it was incredible. I highly suggest everybody watch it. The show should have gotten another
Christopher Guest is apparently a huge ventriloquist fan.
Yeah.
And so I think that's how that kind of all started.
So anyways, I see this movie that I didn't even know, was a thing that Nina Conti made. She directed it and co-wrote it with her co-star in it, where she is... At least in the trailers, it's like it starts a little bit vague until you realize what's happening. She's realized a full life-size version of Monkey.
She has stepped into Monk.
Into a full-size monkey suit.
Mm-hmm.
And is
that looks
being
exactly
monkey.
like her puppet.
Yeah, that looks like a big giant life-size version of the puppet. And man, it is,
which we learned was made by the same folks who do all the Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. The people who make all Star Wars, because she was apparently supposed to be in Star Wars. She told us this little story at the Q&A. Where
she got cut.
Yeah, she got cut, but she was supposed to be in Star Wars. Anyways, we're getting way ahead of ourselves because I just said she told us. Because it turns out after bringing that up and being like, wow, I wish I would have known about this because I assumed it would only had a festival run. I got advertised Sunlight LA premiere at the New Art Theater in Los Angeles with live Q&A with Nina and Shanoa, her co-star and co-writer.
And writing partner. Mm-hmm.
And I immediately jumped on it. I was like, we've got to go do this.
Got to go.
And it was like
awesome.
It was bittersweet because when we went to buy the tickets, there was like nobody. It was plenty of seats. Nobody was there.
We were there
by
like day
comparison.
one though, I feel like, or pretty early on. Yeah.
No, it took us a while because I wrote you like when I first saw it, and then we didn't buy tickets for another week and a half, 2 weeks. It was pretty late. We only bought it like the week prior. Excuse me. But
yeah, and it was not a sold out show.
No, it was too many empty seats for
an amazing film.
For a project of this caliber. I'm going to say now, I don't know when this is going to actually come out to the public. Obviously, if anybody's tuning in live or watching the replay live on the Patreon, you might see this sooner than people hear it. Like, look it up and see, because I know they extended the LA run here at the New Art. They extended it in New York. It's getting a little bit of theatrical play, I think, more than they intended.
And it's going to be on Apple.
And they just released the pre-sale to Apple, but I really want people to go see this in the theaters.
Yeah, if you can see it in theaters.
It's fucking astounding. The movie's called Sunlight, and the very loose premise is a man who's very dissatisfied with his position in life gets abducted by a woman in a full-size monkey suit.
Yeah.
And they embark on, it's a kidnapping.
But it's a romantic comedy.
But it's a really cute kidnapping.
Yeah, it's really cute.
It's raunchy. It's fucking really
dark,
cute.
But poignant.
But it also can be really dark. But it's also like it goes there in ways that like a really good indie movie can do. And it's
beautifully shot too. And
for what it is, Christopher Guest is the producer of the movie, though didn't really have a huge hand. I think he's just sort of helped get it.
She mentioned the Q&A, like anytime she had a question about how to be a director and do this thing that she was trying to achieve, she would get his advice and pick his brain.
And she was a first-time director. This was her directorial debut. But man, it's it's really, really good. I think you gave it a 5-star on Letterboxd. I gave it 4.5, and every day I'm thinking like, no, I think it's just a 5. It's just
you're crazy.
It's too special. I think it was an
instant 5-star on my favorites of all time.
Yeah, it's
no
really,
doubt.
really, really
Made me
crazy
cry.
that this isn't getting a bigger. And I think this is an instance of no big stars, no names.
Yeah,
even though the movie, if you look at all the marketing and the advertising, it all says Christopher Guest presents Sunlight. So it's literally like they're really pushing it with that name.
They're trying, but the reality is, I mean, this is the difference of a film that doesn't have like multi-million-dollar advertising budget.
But it's also a testament to like what the industry is today to its detriment, where it's like this is the sort of movie that
I think even
years
like
ago,
2008.
Oh, it would have had. Well, it would have been a blockbuster. Blockbuster? What was I trying to get? A blockbuster success. Like this would have killed the rental market because word of mouth in the rental market would have made it so much
and
money.
I think it would have even had a larger like art house run too, versus like these two locations. Like because there used to be more art house theaters, and then unfortunately post pandemic we lost a lot. Also,
this would have maybe just had a decent theatrical run with minimal, like marketing. But it's so special, so unique. And I will say that like it's really fun being a hipster in it and being familiar with Nina for a really long time because
it's rewarding.
Because I feel like it's the culmination of this character that she's been doing for over 20 years. And like,
which is what she said, the Q&A, you would ask a great question about like, what is it like to get like become Monkey now? And she's like, this was the next step. Like, this is what it was always going to be. Like I was going to become
my hand.
Monkey.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I highly suggest people even just look up or stand up Nina Conti, Conti is how you spell her last name.
She's hilarious.
But she's also like very deconstructive with stand up with Monkey. It's really funny, like the way that it's like it's ventriloquism, and you think like, oh gosh, like does anybody really like this? But she does it in a very specific way that deconstructs it, and it's really fun.
Yeah.
She's more now known for her like current stage show is she brings up people from the audience and puts on masks on them, and the mask that she puts on them will have a mouth that she can control, so she has conversations with people from the audience, but the people from the audience have no say in what they're saying or doing. And so like it's she's really, really funny, great show, even if you just go find her and see her live.
I love that.
But fuck, Sunlight, I can't talk enough about how exceptional this movie is.
So good.
I think like we had a real 1-2 punch of Brit written indie like all-time greats, where we watched The Ballad of Wallace Island and then Sunlight kind of back to back.
Yeah.
And if there isn't like a more
very, very appropriate, poignant,
but also like
2-punch.
Talk about like the movies that like you just dream about being a part of and dream about making.
Oh my God.
Where it's like they're so simple, they're like really, really, really unique without necessarily like rewriting the wheel. I guess Sunlight's really unique with rewriting the wheel, but it's still, at the end of the day, Sunlight's still just a road trip comedy. But it's a road trip comedy with this insane X factor.
And I think it exists in the same world if you know the show Wilfred. Incredible fucking show. Watch it if you haven't seen it. And I think it exists somewhat in that same world. Human in
But she's not a real monkey though. And Wilfred's a real dog.
She's not a real monkey, no. And Wilfred, is he a real dog?
God, Wilfred was so good.
That's the question.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, but it's that sort of thing though, where it is definitely like really psychological. And Ballad of Wallace Island isn't not psychological, but I think it's more a study on grief and human connection, and very simple, but deep. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of things that I could compare either of them to. And Wallace Island, like, man, it from a story standpoint, it's in a league of its own. Like, it's such a weird, fun, unique thing, even though it utilizes music and songwriting in ways that other movies have. I think like the premise of it is so fun. And Tim Key, who stars in, if you haven't seen Ballad of Wallace Island, I think we watched it on Peacock, right? It's on Peacock now.
I think so.
I like that you make that emoji with the crooked face when you think. Yeah, highly suggest that as well. But I mean, I'm kind of like sad for the state of independent movies right now, while simultaneously, like, everyone that's coming out, I'm like, this is amazing. I want more people to see it.
It's a really weird landscape for sure. I agree, because it's money talks, and I think that's always been the case, but it's kind of like worse than ever when you're also like competing against streaming and
sure.
But simultaneously, also easier than ever to just make something and put it out there if you want.
Sure.
So there's a weird dichotomy. What do you know about that?
What
Mr.
do I know
Bacon?
about that? Oh, I know all too much about that.
Someone did tell you to talk about your movie, Dad. Doug said, talk about your movie, Dad.
He called me Dad?
Yeah, he called you Dad.
I don't know how I feel about that. Even though earlier I said I was the dad. Yeah, I'm in pre-production. I've been talking. I mean, people are sick of hearing me talk about this at this point.
I'm not.
I know Doug's not, but
no one's sick of it. We all support you.
I've been working on my next feature for a while now. I've finally locked the pages. Like, I'm sure there will be adjustments, as there always are, but I've locked the pages. I've got Gilbert just joined us in chat. Hey, Gil.
Hey, Gil.
I've got an astounding lead actress who has agreed to do the project by the name of Helen Highfield. She's incredible. I highly suggest people check out anything that she's in, because she's delightful.
She's amazing.
She was in this really fun musical web series, short series, limited series, whatever you call it, for CW, when they had something called the CW Seed, which was like their short form company.
Right.
Called I Ship It, and she was really, really fun in that. And if you're a fan of like musicals and musical stuff there, that's great. But Helen's incredible. She signed on, and yeah, we're at a point now where we are, I'm working with a few other, producers who are helping me get the ball rolling. But we're gonna be shooting that here, in the immediate future.
Yeah. You excited?
Yeah, I'm actually.
You have a lot of emotions, but I think
I'm kind of like chomping at the bit.
Yeah,
like
you're
I feel
eager,
like
you're inspired.
Should be done already. Because that's the thing. Is like, honestly,
isn't that the independent filmmaker's plight, though?
I mean, listen. When we went to the Q&A for Sunlight, she did say something of like, "Oh, it's been 7 years in the making."
I think she said decade.
Well, either way, we didn't.
Either way, it was a long.
Nobody
time.
Elaborated on that, right? Of whether or not, like, yeah, because that's how long it took us to decide to actually get to the point where we're shooting something. The difference here is like, I'm looking at a calendar and knowing full well as an independent filmmaker that like this still could be another year and a half until we're even wrapped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not that to me is the
well,
part
there's a
where
lot
I'm like,
more moving pieces when you're doing an indie film that's micro budget like this.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We call it no budget, but there's no such thing as a movie with no budget, because somebody has to pay for the
money's
clothes
coming from somewhere.
Somebody has to pay for the clothes you wear
us.
and the food you eat, and yeah, exactly. Like a no budget movie, I think, is called a play that you don't shoot. But yeah, there's obviously a lot of moving pieces, and I'm actually gonna maybe if I say it here, I'll actually do it and hold myself to it, because listeners and our friends and fans of the show know that I'm bad at social media. I don't know how Coy's on it all the time. It seems exhausting, and in a world where you're constantly on, and I feel like people give Coy shit about like not being himself on social media, not being honest, and like, I disagree. I think everything you see on Coy is who Coy is.
I agree with that.
But I understand, like, this is the difference, is that's just how Coy is. But other people do put that shit on for social media.
Right.
Coy's like that offline.
Yeah. No, he really is. Like, you're
course.
seeing the full koi.
Yeah. Douglas says, Douglas trying to get me to say the name of my movie. Doug, do you have something you need to say here, bud? The name of my movie is Dreammates, The Ballad of Jesse and Jess. So it's a tentative working title, but it's probably going to stick with the title. You can read all about it and our efforts at dreammatesmovie.com. That's DREAMMATES movie.com. I lost my place in the word there. Dreammatesmovie.com. But I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Oh, about koi and social media.
Oh, yeah. Just how hard it is to be like a personality on social media, or even just to be on social media, period.
In conversing with my star Helen and with you, not that in the immediate history here, it's been brought to my attention like, oh, you know what? Like, you actually have a tool set for DIY style micro budget filmmaking that like you maybe should share with people. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm going to attempt to start.
I've been saying that for a long time.
Yeah. I think I'm going to attempt to start sharing sort of filmmaking, tips for realistic, actual practical, executionable. Is that a good word? Like things that you can put into practice. You're very distracted by the chat.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot.
I was like, oh my
this
God,
is
what
bad for you. I really need to turn that off for you, and I'll just
I have
relay
ADHD.
She viewers have probably noticed this, but the listeners have no idea. She is not paying attention to me at all this entire episode.
I have paid attention to you in pockets. How dare you?
It's so funny the way you're just like, what are they doing over there? See, now I lost my train of thought a third time. This is the worst. I'm having coffee here.
Take a sip of coffee. Take a breath.
I'm going to start attempting to share some of my knowledge, some of my experience as an independent filmmaker, and comparing that to my work on budgeted full productions, and talk about, ways that people can actually execute their ideas, their creativity via independent film. And I'm going to attempt to start doing that maybe on my socials. I don't really, I'm not active, but probably Instagram and TikTok.
I was going to say,
the places.
You got to go to the places with the reels.
I don't do the fucking Hitler app anymore.
I see you, Gil.
What's happening?
Gil says Alexandra and I have that in common.
What, that neither of you pay attention to me?
Oh, God.
But yeah, I'm really excited to kind of get off and start doing this. Now, with that said, there's a reason Koi's not here is because he's super busy. Once I'm full-fledged into this production, there might be days where Koi's like, all right, I'm ready to shoot. And I'm like, good, I'm on set all day.
Bye.
But listen.
You'll make it work.
We're around. Hey, Catherine from over the seas, from across the pond. I almost said over the pond. I was like, that's not the saying. Over the pond?
Listen, why not? We can do whatever we want.
Hi, Catherine. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I'm stoked. Or what do you have never been with me when I made a thing, but for your ADHDism, you have witnessed firsthand my, what do you call it? You call it something. Fixation?
I mean, you also have ADHD. And yeah, I mean, we can get hyperfixated on stuff for sure.
Hyperfixation. So
mm-hmm.
when
you get devoted
doing something,
you are a dog with a bone, and that would be that.
I'm a dog, baby.
I mean, also some might say like a little bit of a perfectionist, but
see, I don't think that I am. I think I'm a realist in the sense that like if I know something is achievable, then I want to hit that.
I do think eventually you will let something go if you have to, but I think you are someone who is still going to go a little bit more of that extra mile than others might call it sooner than you. So
see, I don't know, because I feel like I don't know.
I have witnessed this. Now with your own film, maybe you have a different little toolkit you're working with on that front. But
sure, of course. And this is an ambitious project.
It is.
Yeah. Again, if you're
would you say it's more ambitious than Pinch?
Oh, far more ambitious. But, and again, this is sort of this kind of the stuff I'm going to attempts to get into on the socials, is like, I learned a lot of lessons making my first feature film.
Yes.
And
which you are applying here very heartily.
And none of them are like, oh, I fucked up and it's bad because of A, B, or C. It's all this sort of stuff that I'm talking about, where it's actual practices that made things harder than they needed to be, And so the new movie was really written to shoot. I wrote it specifically to shoot. I didn't write it like I've write some of my other projects and some of the other things that I have outlined where I'm like, oh, I'm writing this with the idea that like in a dream world, no matter what I'm putting on the page is doable.
Yeah.
Whereas this movie, you're right to shoot. You're right with the assets, but that doesn't mean that you cap your ambition. So there are definitely things in the movie where I am like,
you're still reaching.
Right now, I have no idea how I'm going to do that.
Yeah,
but
you are still reaching in a lot of ways.
Right.
I think so. I agree with that. Whereas you applied the lessons you did learn from Bench, I'm sure you will learn tons of new lessons with Dreammates.
Yeah. In fact, this is, ways out, obviously. But at some point, I need to figure out how to fill a pretty large place with a group of people.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of thing that is like that. You would think like, okay, whatever. Like that doesn't sound difficult. That is a tough task for an indie film in LA.
Listen, this is what I'm going to say. If you are someone who is in the LA area or knows someone in the LA area who has hot tip
listen,
location.
If you're in LA, no. You're not. You're missing the point completely here. That's not the problem. If you're in LA,
and you want to come,
and you would like to potentially be in an independent film,
if you want to be an extra,
stay tuned to the socials.
Let your friends know.
And we'll talk about it because at some point I will be having a shoot where I will need bodies.
Lots of people.
Yeah, we're gonna need lots of people. But I'm stoked about it. I'm really excited about the project.
Well, if there's one thing about you, you're tenacious and pretty fearless, I think, despite any of the potential hiccups. And I think also you are very adaptable. If you do hit a wall, I think you're just going to try and find a new way around that.
I thank you. I appreciate that. I do think that is where my dog with the bone comes in.
A little, but yeah.
Because I'm like, well, I'm going to figure it out regardless.
Totally. That's a long commute for me.
Pennsylvania. You know what's funny about that? All right. So Doug McKinney from Pennsylvania just made a joke about driving really far to be an extra in something.
Yeah.
When I lived in Florida, I drove to Pittsburgh to be in Zach and Miri Make a Porno.
I mean,
I literally
for the opportunity to be in a Kevin Smith movie, you're gonna do it.
Well, we my ex and I made it kind of a vacation, so it's there's an asterisk next to for that, but it was a good excuse.
A vacation in Pittsburgh.
Well, it was like a northeast snowy.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, that makes sense. No offense to Pittsburgh. Yeah, I've never been.
Jake, will we get BTS stories on HoeyCast? Maybe we can. What does it say? Oh, call it
the Ballad of Jesse and Jess and Jake.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'll definitely try to, keep some stuff. Obviously there are components of the story that I don't want people to know about. Not that it's like a, crazy high concept spoilery kind of thing, but I want to keep it as close to the vest as possible. But yeah, I'm going to try to share some stories and stuff. And again, not just on HoeyCast, but on the socials. And another thing, like I said, head on over to dreammatesmovie.com. By the way, that is just a specific page on my production organization's page, which is 3principlesproductions.com. And it's 3 spelled out, principles, PLES. Or you can, I think there's like 5 URLs for it. There's so many because it's such a tough
Just
URL.
Stick with the one.
Yeah, 3 principles. Anyways, there, you can find the shop. You can buy Blu-ray on Pinch. Blu-ray on Pinch, Pinch on Blu-ray.
Someone else needs coffee today too. I'm hydrating. People see me alternate between a matcha and water, like a crazy person.
But over there, that's another great place to just stay tuned for kind of like updates. I'm going to kind of treat that webpage, not quite as a blog necessarily, but I'm going to treat that page as sort of like, hey, this is the progress, because I probably should have led with this is, being that I am doing this completely independently. Yes, I'll have a few EPs and we'll have some assistance from, creative peers here in LA. I'm still doing the entire thing out of my own pocket, the vast majority of it. So I am offering
out of our pockets.
Yeah, I am offering thank yous and AP credits.
Any way you can help.
To those willing to support the movie, and that's all available. You can see all the video and you can see all the stuff about how to do that over at dreammatesmovie.com.
Also, since I'm here and not Coy, I can gush about you and say that, not that Coy wouldn't, but I mean, you do pick on him a lot.
He'd be like, I'm friends with Jack Quaid. I'm like, we get it.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, this guy right here, my fiance.
I'm gonna try to get Jack Quaid in the movie.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell Coy that since he's such good friends with him, he needs to
Is
have him
Jack
come
Quaid
to
like his bestie or something?
Yeah, that's what he says. He says they roll back like rubbers.
Okay, I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that phrase.
What? That's what the kids used to say when I was living on the streets.
This handsome and vulgar man.
I was on the streets.
Would never admit it, but he needs a lot of validation. He needs your love. He needs you. He needs you to amp him up.
Wow.
And get hype. Share this link and share about this movie far and wide because he needs this. And I need it for him because I love and support him.
Wow. All right. Good show, everybody.
You know I'm right. You can put on your hard low exterior, but you have a chewy soft center.
I don't know anything. You think I'm just a gummy bear?
Gummy bear.
And inside just gooey and soft with a.
Are gummy bears not chewy and soft on the outside?
Well, I guess I was gonna say that but with a crusty exterior, but
ew, what gummy bears are you eating?
You don't have crusty gummy bears?
No.
Oh man, crusty gummy bears.
I guess there
fantastic.
are like chocolate covered gummy bears.
Yeah,
maybe?
and they're probably like a hard coated. What about like a gummy bear that's coated in like what an M&M shell is? Oh, that would be so good.
Which is awesome.
So
that's just
weird.
Candy. I don't know what the shell is.
It's just sugar. It's hardened sugar. Nobody knows what an M&M candy shell is made out of. It's candy. What's the shell? Candy.
Candy.
What kind of food is candy?
Listen, I'm interested in nutrition, but whatever.
Anyways.
Any hoops.
All right. Is there anything else that you want to talk about today? Did we do it? I think we did it.
Did we?
Yeah, maybe.
We brainstormed other things we might bring up.
What? Say it. What do you got? What do you have to talk about? This was all by spur of the moment. I just wanted to get something in the pod. We don't have a plan here. We're keeping it loosey goosey. I mean, what were we saying? We were like, I don't know. What's up with us? There was one thing that you did want to talk about since we got.
I was also going to say we binged all the Mission Impossibles, which you had never seen before, and many I had never seen.
Yeah, I was going to
outside of the first couple.
I was going to talk all about that in the POP with Coy, because Coy gave me his breakdown of the good and the bad.
You should talk about that. By the way,
all of them, we still haven't seen the last one, which we have like a day before it's out of the theaters.
That's what I'm saying. We got to go out and see it tonight.
All right, fine.
But anyway, you were going to bring up Buffy, I'm thinking, or was it
sure, go ahead.
Or was it the Bruce movie? Which one?
You're so bad. You're so bad. You're just like things. I always bitched about how Coy was over presentational, where he like immediately deposited and then moved on from things. Mm-hmm. You're like the least presentational co-host.
Listen, you can't have your cake and eat it too, Jake.
Yeah, you are excited for the Buffy remake, which I
don't know if excitement's the right word, but
I don't know anything about it. You know more about it than I do. Tell the kids. Maybe they know. Maybe they don't know.
I don't know if they know, but yeah, I mean, they're rebooting it. Sarah Michelle Gellar seems to be pretty heavily involved. I don't know what her exact credit's going to be outside of
Buffy. I think it's going to say Buffy. Maybe Summers. Buffy.
Do you see
Summers?
what I have to deal with?
Her credit. I mean, her credit's probably going to say Buffy Summers. I'm going to guess.
Wow.
Or Buffy Summers, aka the Slayer. I don't know. It depends on.
I'm talking about.
Oh, I get it.
You son of a bitch.
I see.
I love you. Yeah. So, but anyway, I was reading a little blurb that her hope is to bring back as many people from the original series as possible, including people who had died kayfabe in the story, which is interesting. I'm still kind of trying to wrap my mind around how you're going to take two major characters who were allegedly ageless vampires and bring them back and they're all aged.
You mean between Angel and
David
Spike?
Boreanaz and James Marsters playing Angel and Spike respectively. Yeah, I don't know how
they're supposed to be.
They should
timeless.
be ageless.
I mean, we saw Spike in the 18th century or it's however long ago, and then we saw him in the 90s. And he looked exactly the same.
That's the idea. So I'm not sure
Although,
how they'll...
honestly, I feel like it's easier for him because he's still wiry. I feel like Borealis, how do you say his last name?
Boreanaz.
I think he's aged more naturally. He hasn't aged like the Hollywood rock star the way.
But he's still a super fit guy.
Right.
I don't know that he to me, he looks exactly how I would picture he would look, assuming he stayed fit.
Right.
Right.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But
exactly.
still, they're both aged humans for sure. So I don't get how that works.
I don't know. Maybe it'll all be CG.
Oh God. I don't know.
It'll be like the young.
Don't know how.
It'll be like the young version of Sam Jackson and Captain Marvel. They probably have that sort of budget for a Buffy show, right?
Right. Yeah.
How do you feel about the Whedon of it all?
I think it's great that they're moving forward without him.
But are you worried at all? Like, listen, we can talk about.
Buffy is like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the show, and the Whedon verse is very like pinnacle for my artistic and just life upbringing. I was the right age at the right time for all of these IPs, but I also believe people when they share their stories, and I think it seems like he not such a great guy after all. And starting with Charisma Carpenter, I think really, but I think I'm not nervous about them not being able to capture the same witty, energy. I mean, if that's even important to them to still maintain that, and they don't want to try a different flavor to it.
That's my concern. My concern with him not being involved is that because
they pivot totally.
Yeah, because they're like, well, we don't want to do an impression of a Whedon style show. And so what if we end up with like I think you had mentioned this once before. What if we end up with like a Sabrina the Teenage Witch style Buffy show, like the one that came out not that long ago on Netflix?
I liked the Netflix Sabrina show.
Of course, but I'm not saying it's bad.
But yeah,
if
it's like, if it's that Wednesday,
right?
Like that, I'm just throwing that one in there along with Sabrina because they're like dark youth shows. Riverdale was another one I know. That one was CW though, and it was pretty rough at a point. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen though. Probably depending on where it lands network wise. It's hard to say. I guess it's also a matter of like, are they trying to reach the widest audience, or are they going to cater to fans? It sounds more like the latter right now, based on Sarah Michelle Gellar saying like, we want everyone back.
Right. Interesting. Do we know where this is even going? Or
no, and maybe someone did announce it. I just missed it. Yeah. I don't know what network it's going to be on.
Couple of things from the chat. My favorite vampire thing is What We Do in the Shadows TV show.
Oh, such a great show.
Yeah, that show is outstanding. I mean, there are not that many shows that
love the movie
that
too.
Are comedies that like don't disappoint. You know what I mean? At some point,
it was so great.
That's one of those
through
that's
and through.
Just so fucking good.
Just was what it was,
Gilbert,
and a great cast.
Gilbert says Buffy is also formative. Yeah, I feel like you're like you and Paul of Misunderstood and Dungeons and Dragon Wagon.
Yeah, we bonded over that immediately upon meeting.
Like two of my favorite people in the whole world were both obsessed with Buffy, and I'd never seen an episode of it. I think maybe that's not true. Maybe when I was
and
younger,
me cohabitating with you, you were forced to watch it.
Yes, I did watch all of Buffy and a lot of Angel.
There's a video somewhere I have of how I was never allowed to skip the intro. Not that I would, because Jake was super into the drums.
The most 90s. With that drum beat, I had to air drum the entire intro of Buffy every time it was on.
Gil says Buffy's going to be on Hulu.
Okay.
That actually is encouraging to me.
Sure.
I feel like that's a good home for it, because then there'll be freedom to maybe be a little more.
Well, it's also, is it going to be a TV hour? Is it going to be, you know what I mean? Like
it was
whatever,
originally,
it could be whatever it wants on Hulu, was my assumption. But
it's going to be like The Bear.
Oh, the great comedy, The Bear. Jesus Christ. All right, another thing here from the chat. Moving on from Buffy, unless you had anything, closing statements.
Closing statements. R.I.P. Michelle Trachtenberg.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's another thing. There's like characters that are pretty pivotal that aren't gonna come back for either sad reasons or fuck you reasons. And I'm really interested how they.
But there could be characters that come back for yay reasons, like Charisma Carpenter getting to come back on a set that's safe and not being terrorized.
Yeah,
so yay.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Like some of the people that went to Angel.
I am sad for the people we've lost from that series, like in real life, of course.
Did we also lose the gentleman from Angel who was the demon whose name I'm forgetting?
Yes.
He also passed away, right?
Lauren.
Yeah. Because I was wondering if we were gonna get like
he passed.
Combination of maybe just that universe. How strange. Yeah, Disney owns the rights to Buffy since it was a Fox Studios production. Gilbert
Disney
says.
princess.
Well, So honestly, if it's on Hulu, that means it might be one of those Hulu FX. Like I wouldn't be surprised if it's Hulu, but it's also meant to
Which is actually like the bear.
Air on FX, yeah. Catherine Dawson Foy in the chat says, "What are Alexandra's opinions of the How to Train Your Dragon films?"
Oh, love them. We have yet to watch the newest one.
Well, no, we still never saw the third original movie. We own it on like 4K Blu-ray, and we still
That's
have not.
There's one after
he's talking
that.
about he's talking about the live action one. She's talking about the live action one. Just came out
yeah. We haven't seen the live action one either.
That's still in theaters right now. And I hear it's great, and I hear it's just like because it's the same director.
You were a little on the fence, though.
I was, but until I found out that the guy who directed the animated is going to do and it's his first live action, but he's just going to bring in the same team, just do it again, but this time live action. I still don't think we need it. But I'm not mad that it exists. Why not? I'm not mad that it exists in the way that I was previous.
Yeah.
And the reality is, listen, I love you, John Williams. I put that score up there with any of the great John Williams scores as like all time.
Did John Williams do that score?
No, that's the point I'm trying to make.
Oh, that's what I was like.
The point I'm trying to make is like, people put him in the cat, and I'm like, yeah, but I can't remember the guy that did that. I don't think anyone who's in the composing space is competing with John Williams in that way. I'm sure that the composer of that piece was like, hey, John Williams is one of my inspirations. It's just the entire.
It is. It's incredible.
Perfect. Yeah. And the point I was getting
super hype.
What I was getting at was like, this music alone will make me love the feature.
That's all you need.
This is what happened. Honestly, it's happened every fucking reboot of a movie or like a series that I enjoyed the theater experience, but then didn't like the movie. When The Force Awakens came out, the music, everything about like just being in the world and the music, and I'm just like, it's Star Wars, and then the music, and then the movie ended. I went, all right, well that wasn't very good, but it was a lot of fun.
You could just be like sitting on the toilet and hear that song randomly and be like,
right.
You know what I mean?
Afterlife, all of hearing the Ghostbusters music and the sound effects of Ecto and like hearing those sounds, I was filled with emotion for a movie that I ultimately do not like.
Yeah. Nostalgia ends up playing a pretty large role, I think, in us like
I will still be weeping,
connecting in some way with it, but
100%. I will still be weeping just endlessly at
live action. We're in the same boat about both of those movies.
Yeah, the first movie is one of my all-time favorites. I think it's my favorite. If I had to pick, if you put a gun in my head and said favorite animated movie of all time, I go How to Train Your Dragon.
Wow.
I think it's the best animated movie of all time.
I'm a Studio Ghibli fan myself, so I don't think anything can top that for me at the moment. But
I think I saw the first ones I ever saw too late in life to have any sort of.
I showed them to you, yeah. So
I mean, even like How to Train Your Dragon, I saw as an adult, but it was just it's
well,
just
this is the
perfect.
thing you need to know about Jake is he's obsessed with Arthurian legends. He's obsessed with dragons. He's obsessed with everything that this movie has. Not that it's necessarily heavy on the Arthurian legend thing, but it's swords and dragons.
Yeah, sword and sandal and dragon. Yeah, no, I do. I have a sauce. But the thing is that this movie is the original.
Also,
How to Train Your
really
Dragon
cute fucking dragon
is so good on top of the pass that it gets for being that. Like, there's some things I'm gonna like just because of the genre, and I will admit that like. It's not good, but I like watching it. Like there's certain things that, that are fantasy where I'm like, oh, I will watch a fantasy thing. Even if I objectively go like, oh, the Dragonheart movies, beyond the first one, which I think is actively good. The Dragonheart sequels are atrocious, and I've watched every single one of them because I'm like, let's look at the dragons.
Oh, that's true. You will watch anything.
But the How to Train Your Dragon 1 is like exceptional outside of the free pass it gets, is the point I'm trying to make.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is very, very good.
So great.
It won't have it's never going to have the same impact
Catherine
the first
says,
one does.
That's their favorite as well.
Which one? The first one?
The second one.
Oh, the second one is your favorite. Interesting. See, I gotta go one. I think it's the surprise of it, the shock of it, the not knowing what to expect and expecting maybe again, I probably watched it because I was like, dragons, that's fun. And I think I watched it fully expecting just like, your typical kids movie fare, but it punched me in the gut repeatedly. Also, here's the thing is this, give me a movie about fucking outcasts and adopted family. That is my, listen,
same here, Misfits.
Chuck can go fuck himself at this point, but Shazam is still my favorite DC movie because of you got me. You give me outcasts and adopted family and I'm going to die with love inside, and that's what happens. But yeah,
Gil's calling you out for never having watched Game of Thrones
because Well, first off, the reason I didn't watch Game of Thrones because I didn't have like HBO when it was airing. I had no access
me either,
to it.
and yet I watched it all.
Well, you did DVDs. What'd you do?
Anyway, what?
Oh, you pirated it. Yeah, at that point, I was done pirating shit because I was too busy fucking living my life.
Allegedly,
cool.
I don't know what you're talking about, but anywho,
But
yeah,
I still want to watch Game
it was
of
also one of
Thrones.
those things where, because this will happen, it's like it's kind of snowballed a bit, where like it got so far out, and you were like, well, I missed so
Daunting.
much. How do I crack into this?
It's also just really daunting to know that all right, I got like 20 fucking episodes.
As someone who watched it from the beginning, I sometimes wonder if I shouldn't have, because it ended in a way that I was not entirely satisfied with.
But yeah, I don't know. I love the How to Train Your Dragon movie, the first one, and the fact that we haven't watched the third one is a crime. But also, this is the thing that happens to us. We do this all the time. Hey, you want to watch the third How to Train Your Dragon movie because we have never seen it?
Well, we got to start with the first.
Yeah.
And then we'll watch the second.
Yeah. Well,
so we'll get to the third one in a year.
Yeah. It happens every single thing.
In fairness,
because we're a sucker for like, well, let's watch them again.
Well, we need the details.
Also, it's like, well, let's build back up to it because it's fun and it makes it an event. But then it ends up not happening for years.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard being a fan of so many great things.
It is. Also, there's so many things out there.
There are so many things out there. I would like to see the live action in the theater, How to Train Your Dragon. But again, we'll see what we can do. If you still want to do a lot of movies this summer, I'm all for it. And that's one that because I think it's going to be better. Listen, we've got a lovely theater set up here with great sound and great picture, but that would be a fun thing to see in the theater, just the scale of it.
I'm down with that. Yeah. So I think the other thing, you were accusing me of ADHD brain earlier, so I am going to switch gears for us really quick before we hop off. We already went longer. I thought this was gonna be like a fun little mini app, and we're already, a little mini app.
We're already been on for an hour. So.
Deliver Me From Nowhere. I just thought we should conclude with that.
Deliver Me From Nowhere is what movie is this?
This is gonna be the Bruce Springsteen movie.
Oh right, it's called Springsteen.
Okay.
Deliver Us From Nowhere. All right, I am torn.
So just to kick this off,
the trailer came out. I watched it, even though I don't watch trailers. I watched it.
It is a very bad trailer. I also just want to add,
trailer.
I am a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. Have seen him.
They know
9 times in concert.
I've talked about it. I
would see him more if it weren't so dang expensive.
My beautiful, a blonde white woman fiance is actually a 63-year-old man from New Jersey who's obsessed with the boss. It's the most surprising part of
in fairness, everyone I've
interests.
ever met, when I meet them and I tell them this, they go, what?
Of all of your interests, it's the one that's like, really? You're like really into Springsteen?
Yeah.
I remember when I'm honestly, it was one of the things I thought made you cool. When I was like, okay, I like it. I like that she's got.
It does make me cool.
How
dare you?
To me, it does.
You're probably a Billy Joel fan.
How dare you? How dare you? I was to a Long Islander, right to my face, to this on the day of my daughter's wedding.
I like Billy Joel. I just.
So yes, you're obsessed with Bruce. I like Bruce a lot. There are things about him that I love, but one of those things isn't the entirety of his music catalog.
Well, him as a person, and as a leader, and a political
I'm obsessed
advocate.
With him. I just want him to be my best friend forever.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so the movie, I love Jeremy Allen White. I watched the entirety of Shameless in its original, like when it was on, and yeah, he's an incredible actor in my opinion. And so I'm excited to see his take. I think he will do it justice, depending on the writing. That's the question mark, I guess, is the phrase I'm looking for, because with any music biopic, it can get so cliche, and that's just the byproduct of this type of story sometimes, unless you're going to do something kind of weird and unique like Velvet Goldmine or whatever.
Or honestly, I know that people dogged on it, but Rocket Man was the right way to do it. Like, it was unique, it was fun, it was well cast, I loved the fantastical elements of it, and I'm not even like a huge diehard what's his name? God damn it.
Elton John?
Elton John. I was going to say Elliot for some reason. I was like, is his
Elliot
name
John?
Elliot? I was like, is his name Elliot John? Not even the biggest Elton John fan, but that movie was handled so well and so fun. But I do think, and when we recently watched the Bob Dylan biopic, which, you're also a big Dylan fan.
I'm a big Dylan fan, and it was fine.
It was fine.
It was exactly the chapter of history I would assumed it would have been if it's a chapter. And I predicted what they are focusing on for this movie as well for Bruce. I was like, that it was either going to be that or like your typical thing where it's just kind of his whole trajectory. Right. But this is a unique era, I think, for him that could be very poignant as a story.
I love Jeremy Allen White on The Bear. He was incredible in Iron Fist. Oh, I'm sorry, Iron Claw. I'm
just gonna ignore that.
What? Ignore what?
Iron Claw.
Yeah. Do you not remember that he was in Iron Claw as one of the Von Erichs?
Oh my God! In my brain, you said Iron Fist, and I was like, "Oh, what the fuck you're talking about?"
I did at first, and then I corrected myself.
Oh, that's why. That's why I got hung up on that, and I was like, "I don't remember him in that." Yeah, no, Iron Claw. Jeez.
So
such
he's
a beautiful
great.
Movie.
And the sound of his voice singing Bruce songs in the trailer is obviously incredible.
This is the thing, like relatively lifelong Springsteen fan, and I was floored. So.
But
But also,
listen. I don't like it when
other people take roles
when blonde, dirty, blonde-haired guys take roles from natural brunettes. I think it's cultural. I think it's appropriation. I think we've moved past that as a society. Okay, listen. Hey, all I'm saying is if Jenny, what's her face, had to or didn't had to opted to step down from her voice role on Big Mouth, then Jeremy Allen White.
Jenny Slate?
Yes, Jenny Slate stepped down from her role on Big Mouth as a young
My love?
As a young girl of color. Then I think that Jeremy Allen White should hand that role over to a man who's actually brunette. I'm being silly, obviously. I know I'm not sold on him, but I think this is what happens with every single biopic.
Listen. This is what I'm going to say. As a longtime Springsteen fan, I am sold on it because I think he's got that weird sort. You see Bruce today, and he's got sweet dad energy, but he can be really fucking scary when he wants to. Like he lays down the law, and he he's the mouthpiece. He's called the boss for a reason. Yeah. It's not. Right?
It's an ironic nickname.
And I think that Jeremy Allen White can tap into that.
I agree. Here's I mentioned this book at length about Alexandra's cousin who recently passed away, who, by the way,
Don Mishner
entered into the Television Academy Hall of Fame just this past month, alongside Conan was on that list. Like there's his class is incredible. It's unfortunate that it happened after his passing, but there you go. There's Alexandra's cousin Don. For the people in the video, where's my fingers? I'm backwards. And the boss right there.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Look at Don and the boss. How does it make you feel to see him with the boss? Does it make you feel proud to be like, yeah.
Hell yeah. It's awesome.
That was in 2009, that photo from his Super Bowl. By the way, Don Mishner, 10 Seconds to Air, My Life in the Director's Chair. Get it wherever books are sold. Well, right on. I think we did it. Did we do it?
We did it. I'm just reading through comments. Beach Boys.
This was fun.
Catherine, yeah.
I guess expected is a more accurate term. I never would have picked J.W. to play Springsteen, to be honest. Yeah, I kind of agree, Gilbert. But, sometimes you get a nice surprise. Anything else pertinent in the chat? My dad is a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. There you go. That's what Catherine says. Yes, you and everybody else.
But listen, dads know what's up. I don't know what to tell you. With some music. There's other dad music I'm not as into. You know what I mean?
Like what? What biopic would you be like? Nah, I'm good.
Like the Leonard Skinner biopic. I can pass on that.
We're ever gonna get that. I don't think anybody's.
I'm good.
I don't think anybody's paying for that.
I hope not. Unless it's like just that one little part of history where like they and Neil Young were like having some beef. Like I'll watch that. I'll watch the Neil Young biopic where Leonard Skinner features.
Honestly,
as
I feel like Neil's got to be up next. I mean, think about all the people that we've gotten
or
recently.
He has a stipulation. I mean, what are the odds that people haven't reached out and he's like, go fuck yourself?
Listen, he doesn't sell Pepsi. He doesn't sell Coke. He doesn't sell.
He's not interested.
Anything because selling shit's a joke.
But Bob eventually
I probably
caved,
butchered
so.
that lyric, by the way, but that's from a Neil Young song. Yeah, he probably wouldn't like the commercialization of his life, Neil, is my guess.
The Robbie Williams.
Oh, yeah, the Robbie Williams. You know what? I hear it's incredible, but Americans don't give a shit about Robbie Williams, so it's like, I don't think that we're going to have the same. I mean, people in the UK fucking love that dude.
I haven't not enjoyed his music in the past. I
can only name one song.
Yeah, I only really know I
didn't even like it that
radio
much.
play.
Well, I mean, listen, do you want to know what's a great example of a biopic? Daisy Jones and the Six.
Oh, fuck.
Like, that is how...
But you and I are a big fan of, like, fake bands, real music.
Yeah, sure.
Love that fucking show. So good.
Yeah, but, you know, that was a very loose, inspired
But now we're in the
story.
territory of, like, Once and other great things.
But but the point I'm trying to make, though, is that was a Fleetwood Mac story, but with, like,
kind of
some things
inspired,
changed. Yeah, like, you know, things changed to protect the innocent and guilty, I suppose. But
it was inspired, but it wasn't like a beat for beat inspiration.
Right.
But I watched it because Stevie Nicks had finally watched it, and there was like an interview where she said that she cried and that she only wished Christine McVie was still alive so she could talk about it with her.
Sweet.
And that was like the ringing endorsement for me. I was like, all right, I got to watch this show.
Right.
And it is so good.
Right on. Alrighty. Now we're getting distracted by the chat because we both have ADHD apparently, but let's wrap.
I agree with
up.
you, Catherine, about Joni Mitchell. Only because I learned that she does some weird, like blackface character. That I'm like, no, I don't.
Okay.
Let's not give her more of a platform.
Yeah, I feel like Sting. We might get a Sting biopic at some point. I feel
Sting.
like he's definitely up there. Yeah, you don't think so?
I mean, I love the Police. I love Sting.
Plus, his TNA run was pretty great.
Wait, what?
Doug is asking for gift horses. I love you and I love all the patrons, but we are not prepared for this stuff right now, Doug. I apologize. We are gonna have to just do like a major gift horse giveaway.
You're gonna owe
catch up.
so many gift horses.
I feel like 2025 has just been a clusterfuck of the gift horse program, and I apologize on behalf of Coy and HoeyCast and myself. But Coy and I will talk about a way to remedy the issue that has come from our inability to schedule properly. And we will course correct on all of that sometime soon. I promise. I apologize. Anyways, I was talking about other people yeah. I mean, I feel like we got a terrible Bowie documentary that should have never happened, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get a Bowie biopic at some point.
I don't think that'll ever end because he was a fascinating alien person.
I don't think we'll get a Prince biopic because I don't think the estate will ever allow it. Because of the religious stuff. Like, I think that it's going to end up being, you know, like there's going to be a lot of, if we get it, it's going to be like a
very like, things are being omitted.
Right. You know, it's going to be a Queen movie.
People keep, there's like so many rumors, and I think it all just started because of Millie Bobby Brown expressing interest in playing her, but there's like rumors about a Britney Spears biopic, which I feel like eventually will happen, but Millie Bobby Brown was like an interview, and she was like, "Oh, I want to play Britney," and Britney was like, "I'm not dead yet." It was her response.
It is weird because when I think of all these things, we think about like people from like the 60s and 70s.
Oh, we're gonna get into the 90s and aughts.
Eventually,
I'm surprised there hasn't been a Kurt Cobain one, but maybe his estate doesn't allow for it.
But wasn't there one? Was there not like a made-for-TV Kurt Cobain movie?
Ooh, well, I don't
know.
Kurt
Cobain movie. 2005. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. It was a documentary. And it was the same douchebag who did the fucking Bowie movie, even though Bowie told him not to.
Oh.
That's what it was. But yes, not a true biopic.
Dave Chappelle already gave us the perfect Prince biopic.
Yes, he did. Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like there's definitely some, you know, maybe not like, I wouldn't be surprised if we got like a Spice Girls biopic where it was like,
fuck yeah, sign me up. But we already had the best Spice Girls movie ever, Spice World.
But here's the thing is it'll end up being a movie that's about like, the inner dramas and maybe like the way that the band was formed and the cutthroat kind of nature of life on the road.
I think it was just formed like a lot of those sort of bands back then where like they were cherry picked and put together.
Getting at, like, because that'll be the interesting part. It'll be about who makes the cut, and it'll be like they'll try to make it exciting, and it won't be about, you know, how funny the movie is.
Girl power.
All right. For real this time, we're done. Okay. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the live stream. Once again, if you want to tune in to the live episodes when we do record them, you got to head on over to patreon.com/HoeyCast. That is where you get access to not just the live streams, but the patron-only pod, which is 200 eps deep, I think, at this point. 230 eps deep. There's 230 episodes of that, and the second you sign up, you get access to the entire back catalog of them. So please, if you haven't considered becoming a patron of the program, do so. And that's not the only way that you can support both HoeyCast or Coy or myself. Obviously, follow us all on the social medias at CoyJandro, at Jake Lloyd Bacon. She's at Alexandra Hoy. You can check out the Dragon Wagon shop. Snag yourself some sweet Dragon Wagon merchandise. We got mugs and hats and hoodies and shirts and
this mug?
phone cases. You're way above.
Oh, I was looking
there
at
you go.
that mug.
You can find all of that at koicast.com. The Discord, great place to hang out and chat with like-minded weirdos and fans of pop culture. Once again, if you have interest in supporting my movie and supporting the film that we're setting out, head over to dreammatesmovie.com. That's DREAMMATES movie.com. Dreammatesmovie.com. Learn all about it and check out the rest of the Three Principles site there. Also, a little fun announcement for those who maybe are in the know. If you enjoy Alexandra and myself speaking into microphones, but like it when it's a little bit more structured and we're not just...
And you like wrestling, or even if you don't.
Yes. Alexandra and I have a little podcast called Me, You, and 30 Other Men, in which we watch WWE Royal Rumble matches throughout of all of history. I kind of get Alexandra's thoughts on the absolute absurdity that is the
majority.
Talk
a lot about outfits and how atrocious they are. We talk about haircuts and how atrocious they are.
Yeah.
We talk about fake tans and how atrocious they are, which apparently Kevin Owens agrees with.
Yes, of course. That show has been on
But also
hiatus.
other stuff about wrestling.
That show has been on hiatus since pandemic.
Yeah, it's been a couple years, we realize, a hot minute.
And we were about 2/3 way through all Rumbles. We now have added an additional 7 years worth. We are throwing them in the jar. We are coming back for what I'm going to call the ultimate part 2, the back half. And the next episode of Me, You, and 30 Other Men drops July 7th. So Me, You, and 30 Other Men is coming back to your pod waves July 7th. We've got a lot of really fun Rumbles still there to get through, and that's a really good time. And again, even if you're not a fan of wrestling, it's kind of fun. What we do is we pull up the Rumble on Peacock, which is now the home of the WWE Network. And we will tell you when to start it, when to pause it, and we'll count down and hit play all at the same time. And if you listen to the podcast while you watch the Rumble, you can see all the shenanigans that we're talking about. And it's absurd and silly. So check out Me, You, and 30.
And I'm not a wrestling know-it-all encyclopedia. This one knows more than me, kinda. Sure. But
well, I mean, I've been watching it the majority of my life. And, unlike my co-host, Scott Narver.
I was going to make a joke about Scott's kind of
he's
always
got
giving you the real facts. But
he's got a better memory. But he also has it's interesting. We've learned recently that while I have a few dark years, he also has dark years. And they happened way earlier. So it was when interesting. Because he's a few years older than I am.
So you trade off.
When I was a kid and really into it, he had checked out because it was too kid-like when he was a teenager, right? So there's some crossover there. But anyways.
Any hoops.
Me, You, and 30 Other Men, available wherever you get your podcasts, and of course at dragonwagonradio.com. What else? What other crap do we do at the end of this? I think we did it. I think we've done it.
I don't know, but it sounds like you did it all.
Go watch Sunlight. Look it up.
Sunlight, so good.
See if you can find it.
Ballad of Wallace Island.
Ballad of Wallace Island is on Peacock.
Jonathan Bailey was that beautiful man's name.
Jonathan Bailey was that beautiful man's name. Right in the nick of time.
Mm-hmm.
I think we did it.
We did it.
Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Alexandra, for joining me.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It
Super
was
fun.
Just shit. Oh my God. Douglas McKinney chat says phone number. I don't know the phone number. That's Coy's job. I have no idea what the phone number is. Go to the website. It's on the website, HoeyCast.com.
You're a hot mess. Emphasis on the hot.
Coy's a hot mess. She's not even here. In fairness, it's not a recording day.
Coy's working.
We just did this. Yeah. I don't know the hotline. You guys, you know the hotline. Go to HoeyCast.com. Or here's the thing. Follow Dragonwang on social media, including on Blue Sky and Threads and on every single podcast.
818-794-0722.
You didn't. Someone told you that.
No, I just pulled
We're
it.
done. I'm ending this.
I pulled it out of my brain.
I'm ending this with my iron claw. Thank you guys for joining
Your
us.
iron fist claw.
Thank you, Alexandra, for being
Thank
here.
you.
And thank you, as always, to movies and pop culture and art for existing.
It's Dragon Wagon.